My name is Michael Koenka. I'm going to be talking to you about what I call here from mind to market, basically getting people to love and buy your work. In short, trying to help you guys understand how to really come up with a quick way to get people interested in what you're thinking about and what you're doing. So maybe a little bit about myself would be kind of fitting. I think of myself as a one-day man. They have minute men out there, and I think of myself more like a one-day kind of guy. And have you ever guys had one of those moments where you think to yourself, one day I'll come up with this great idea, or one day I'll get my dream job, or one day I'll find something that that really inspires me and just actually go out and do it. Well, I am the kind of guy that works with companies and startups, international and small companies, no matter what, to turn one day into today. I know it's a bit cheesy. I'm North American, so I can totally play on the cheese while I'm in Europe, especially being in Holland, so I think you guys are already chill with the fromage. He says in French. But what's really important actually today is that, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but for anytime we get bored, anytime we lose interest in something, we either look around or we take out our trusty little mobile devices. That's because I think today, if more than anything, we find ourselves in something of an attention economy. And what this basically says is that when you ask someone, when they're not paying attention to a talk or when they're not engaged in what's going on, what do? And they reach usually people, the younger groups, the millennials. Basically say that they just take out their phones and start chatting on it, or looking at what's going on, or checking the scores, or what's randomly posted on Facebook, and who else is having kids, or whatever it is. You guys. And that's really interesting, because I mean, studies have also shown, if you think about it, that we used to make fun of these little creatures that would live in our homes, these goldfishes. But now, unfortunately, thanks to technology and thanks to this rapid influx of device usage, we now can no longer boast that we have a longer attention span than a goldfish. What does that mean when you're coming up with ideas, when you're trying to really do something funky in the world and really change the world around you? It means that actually, for a lot of people, while you're talking, your audience is only half listening. How's it going, guys? And I'm here to basically, thank you, point made. Gewonnen. Well, I'm here to try and help you guys cut through the noise. And I'll do that by taking you through a couple little examples here and there. But the meat of this presentation is actually really us interacting with each other. So who here has actually, in the last 3 years, I'd say, come up with an idea that they would like to eventually see a reality? You guys? Yeah? Anyone want to share it? Can you share it in under 10 seconds? Right on, right on. Rude boy in the front row. Okay. You raise your hand.
I really don't need that. No, please.
See, this is what I'm telling you. I'll just, okay, go ahead. No pressure, no microphone. I'll put it somewhere else.
I do love sewing. I want to make classical shirts for females, but I find it that if it goes wide, it's really difficult to get it.
That's right on. No, that's great. That's great. Anyone else? That's cool. We'll get to that eventually anyways. Yeah, but respect for leading the fray and coming out. Come on in. Grab a seat. Okay, peace out. Laters. So, in cutting through the noise, thank you for sharing, by the way. And I'm sorry for jumping with the microphone. They totally threw this on me last minute. So, in cutting through the noise, I figured every great talk on how to cut through things needs the stereotypical Steve Jobs photo. I found one that wasn't too stereotypical. Yeah, it kind of is. It's either that or him on stage or doing one more thing, which Tim Cook has totally taken over. Anyways, I digress. Basically, there are two really big areas that you really need to focus on. There's your value proposition, and then there's these things called quick pitches. You may know them as elevator pitches. And what I'm going to do today is take you through a couple examples of how to go through and build your value proposition and come up with quick pitches. This should basically, the reason for this is because if you have an idea, the best way to actually get into people's hands is for you to understand it well yourself. And this is also why I said, can you describe it in 5 to 10 seconds? Because a lot of times, these quick pitches or value propositions, you can jump straight into it. So, well, yes, this. All you need to sell your concept to others is basically coming up with a really good value proposition and a memorable elevator pitch. It's a lot of text. Basically, good value propositions are something that's just relevant, something that fits with the audience, something that you can measure and track and make sure that, either sales or whatever it may be, and something that's unique. Because if you do something that everyone else does, then who's going to really buy your stuff? So I'm here to help you figure out that also that they're not necessarily slogans like Nike's Just Do It or catchphrases or a positioning statement that basically sets you in the market. They are a number of different things altogether. And it seems that they somehow fall under what a lot of people call this formula for success, which is something like coming up with a headline. In your headline, you basically come up with the main benefit that you're trying to get across. You can mention the product and their customer, but this is really something that should catch people's attention. Underneath it, you have an explanation of what you do and what it's useful. A lot of the new startup sites look like this. They have a really big BAM text at the beginning, and then they follow up with what they sort of do underneath it. And then these things coming from advertising, these reasons to believe, are parts and aspects of your product that you can actually help convert people's attention by saying, we have millions of users, or we do this better than anyone else. But 3 bullet points that list your specific benefits or features. And a key visual that helps show the product, like a hero shot or something that reinforces what you're trying to get across. This is just all, to be honest with you, these are a lot of different bits of text, but what it really looks like is just something like a giant headline with like a one-liner and then a couple points underneath. It's nothing terribly complicated or whatever, but when you think in this sort of method of getting people through, grabbing their attention, keeping their attention, and then giving them reasons to support why they're actually listening to you, you've already done half the battle, which is getting people's attention, especially since we can't focus for longer than 12 seconds. Well, I think that's the goldfish. Or is it 30 seconds? It's probably 30 seconds. Well, either way, I'm probably in the 12-second mark anyways. Some aspects of a really good VP, a value proposition, not to be confused with venture people. Because that's totally what I was risking you guys confusing it with, venture people. Yeah, vice president, exactly. Yeah, I'm not that venture person. Yeah. Clarity, making sure it's clear. Making sure that you say exactly what people get from your service. Uniqueness, saying how you're different. And this is one of my favorite ones, avoiding BS. It doesn't, we all know what the BS stands for, I would hope. I'm not going to spoil the microphone moment. Yeah, exactly, BS. It stands for bridge stuff. I don't know. And it's got to be understandable, because at the end of the day, if people really don't know what you're doing or what you're trying to accomplish, then you've lost them already. So a good value proposition has all these elements, and it's important to use these and think about these when you're building them. And this presentation, I'm probably going to slap up on SlideShare within the next week or so. So if you want to refer back to it and have a look at it, no, you're more than welcome. Snap away, dude. Like, hashtag share the shit out of this presentation if you want. Yeah, totally. I probably should have been a better social media guy and put my tags on it. But nevertheless, that's one side of what to do to really sharpen your ideas. And we're entering now into the meat and potatoes and maybe some veg. The, what is it? The aardappel, groente en vlees. Yeah, the AVG for the Dutchies here. For the non-Dutchies, that just is just what they eat. So what I'm going to do right now is take you through 8 examples. I had 10, but the other 2 were kind of boring, so I took them out just for your sake. That's the kind of guy I am. I'm thinking about your sake. I think they're setting fire to something outside too, which is awesome. But basically right now what we're going to do is look through a quick pitch. Does anyone know what a quick pitch or an elevator pitch is? Who has never heard of what an elevator pitch is? Nice. Who's not raising their hand because they don't want to raise their hand? Nice. Score. I love it. All right. So basically what it is, just to make sure that we get it out there for the people in video land, it's when imagine going into an elevator, you run into Richard Branson and you have your $1 million idea. You want to launch your entire sweater empire. Well, you have to, shirts. Well, damn it. This is my attention span. See, maybe after going through the quick pitch stuff, I'm an asshole. Well, basically what I want to do is take you through 8 different ways to come up with a quick pitch. And the first way that I'd like to share with you is something that's called the value first. It's basically, and underneath here I provide the format that you usually use. So you say something like, for the audience and the need that you're trying to tackle on, and what your service does, and then the benefit. It's similar to your value proposition, but at the same time, this is something you can say really quickly. So for example, for startups who need to grow their business fast, our Extreme VC package is an investment strategy proven to double your business growth in under 6 months. That's a quick example of how to get people really interested in what you're doing, and perhaps even want to extend the conversation further. One thing that I do have to caution you with these things like quick pitches is that they're not a way to actually sell your product right there. You're in an elevator. I mean, if you're able to sell it in like 10 seconds, then dude, seriously, then please come up, grab the mic. But what quick pitches really do is that they frame your product in a way that interests other people. What you're selling is curiosity for a quick pitch. You're not selling necessarily your idea. And when you have that notion in mind, when you're getting in there and trying to get people interested and curious about your product, then you've got the first hook. And once that happens, then you can just bring them in and have a conversation, because that's where the real selling takes place. They're launching something too. Anyways, the second one is a high concept. Basically, this is another approach to convert or to get people's interest. You start off with a really concise presentation of all the major aspects of who you are and what you're doing. And you deliver this in just a quick second, about the time it takes you to ride a relatively short elevator. I don't think I edited this. But here's the example. What it is, yeah, I totally did not edit that. I knew I had to do one slide. There's always that one slide that creeps in that's just like, haha, screw you. No, basically, high concept is just, we are like the Birchbox of food. We are the Uber of fine clothing. We are fine dining. We are the insert major company name here of whatever you want to be doing. That's the high concept pitch. And that basically just allows people to make a little hook in their mind of, okay, so you do that kind of process, or that is your business model, and that's how you connect with them. The third one is what I call the XYZ, or I don't really call it, this is what I'm calling it today. It's the XYZ model, which is literally one of the simplest quick pitch formats. And you see this a lot when you watch shows like Dragon's Den or whatever it is, where they say, we help X to do Y by doing Z. Pretty straightforward. We help people to do this by doing that. And it allows you to frame things in a way that allows you to say things like, we help venture capitalists find investments by introducing to our award-winning network of 250,000 startups, or whatever it is. That has a little bit of value in it by focusing in on how many startups we have, or how award-winning they are, or whatever it might be. But essentially, it's just about creating we do this and that by that. It's super straight. It's like almost mind-numbingly simple. And this is something that I really like. It's an expression I saw when I think it was watching a session with Peter Thiel or something on TechCrunch Disrupt a while ago, where he said something to the effect of, a lot of times people come to him and they pitch their problems. They pitch their app. They're like, I have a new thing that solves this. I have a new thing that does that. I have a new thing that does this. And he's like, that's fantastic, but how do you know if I actually care about it? Oftentimes people walk up to these venture capitalists or walk up to anyone hoping to sell something without taking the time to understand what their problem is. So that's why he said, your solution is not my problem. That's why this framework here, this quick pitch style, is about overcoming that challenge of getting over the problem of not paying attention to what the real problem is. An example of that would be, we help professionals avoid the back and forth of appointment scheduling. Problem statement right there. We are an artificial intelligence assistant who books meetings for you. This is actually a real thing. It's a really cool thing. You guys should check out X.AI, by the way. I don't make anything off of them, but it's this artificial intelligent assistant that books meetings for you. Super cool. X.AI. It's Amy is a sort of creepy artificial assistant that just takes care of all your meetings and everything. It's just legendary. It's amazing. It doesn't. You've had problems with the cross time zones. Ooh, yeah. Now I had to be careful with Amy too. Always better. Always better. You can't replace humans yet. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, or Donna. Yeah, exactly. The fifth style is something I call Forrest Gump, which again is something simple. And there's a theme here that you're seeing. It's basically just how do you make sure that your messaging is as simple and clear as possible. There are different ways to say it, but at the end of the day, it's really about just getting the point across really simply. This right here helps you describe the what, the how, and the why in a very clear and simple way. I'm sure you guys have probably seen the Simon Sinek video of the secret of why, or whatever, the golden circle, whatever he talks about. This is something similar, but at the same time, it really uses, what's unique is that it uses 3 keywords or phrases. So, know your customer. Increase purchases, loyalty, and lifetime value is an example. I mean, there's a classic one in North America that's like, buy this knife, it slices, it dices, it juliennes. It's amazing, it's the best thing since sliced bread, or whatever it is. It's about listing 3 different points. And what's interesting about the rule of 3 is that once you go beyond 3, people start trailing off or forgetting things. It's that goldfish effect, but mostly in terms of memory. Typically, we can't hold more than 5 things in our memory at the same, well, not at the same time. I'm sure you guys, maybe some of you are much better than I am. Maybe it's thanks to Amsterdam. But usually people can't hold on to 5 things for an extended period of time and be able to recite them effectively. So picking 3 is really simple. And so that's why I call it the Forrest Gump. Moving away from a little simplicity, when you have to really convince someone who's usually very skeptical, there's something I call Freytag's promise. This is all about highlighting the importance of the problem being tackled, telling people what you're really trying to get across, and then trying to set yourself apart by adding not only a differentiation statement, which is almost something to make you unique, but a little bit more of a proof statement behind that, to actually give you some weight behind what you're saying. And you see this a lot in maybe some charitable organizations. I used to work for a company that had a policy of 1 for 1, where you buy a shoe and they give it to kids in need. But similarly here, here's an example where every year 5 million children die from hunger unnecessarily. That's the shocking statement. That's the grabber, if you will. We are the only footwear company, you say, hello, that feeds 10 children every time you buy a pair of our shoes. I'm exaggerating with what that company actually did. I'm not giving them advertising, but still a good cause. And then the credibility statement here is that we work with the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child. I don't even know if that actually exists, that committee. I'm just making it up. But to make sure we can save as many hungry children as possible. And what's really important to take away from this particular statement here is the fact that you start off by a really big banging number that really gets people interested in what you're talking about and says, oh, wait a minute, shoot, that's happening right now. You follow it up with setting yourself apart from your competition, and then close it up by giving them some proof that other people have invested in you or that have allocated to you. So it's a great way to really focus in on how to set yourself apart and give yourself a little boost. And these are all still very much quick pitches, because you can say these 3 sentences in like 10 seconds. And at the same time, just as a caution, don't assume that you're going to be riding a really super long elevator ride either. The CEO may get off at the next floor, so you want to be able to just sort of really get it up there. Thank you. Now, fittingly, well, not so fittingly, I'm Canadian actually, but fittingly, this is called the American, where you start off with something really massive, really loud, really loud and interrupting. No, I'm just kidding. Totally just joking. You start off with something like, this product is amazing, this is super, this is great. And you give it yourself a label, like what is it? And then a little qualifier as to why you should use it. So for example, this is the easiest social media application for small businesses. It's a 1 quick sentence, but you can use this for anything. And it's really, most of the stuff that I'm showing here is like plug and play. And the last one, because I've got the, yo man, you're running out of time, kind of signal, is also called a VAD, which sounds kind of wrong, mind you, now that I say it out loud, but it means it's a verb, application, and differentiator. And what that looks like is basically something like verb, like share. This is what you help people do. PowerPoint presentations is a specific action or whatever it is, with embedded live video, and that's sort of what differentiates yourself from the other people. So just a quick recap, and I know I went through this stuff really, really quickly, but you guys are totally welcome to either perving my slide share in the next week or so when I put it up there, or just hitting me up after this talk and having a quick chat. But quick recap: we covered value first, high concept, XYZ, your solution is not my problem, Forrest Gump, Freytag's Promise, the American, and action focused. Yeah, I can pretty much do that quick pitch in the entire presentation, which is not the idea, but point is that there's a lot of different ways to get people's attention, whether it's through a quick pitch, whether it's through taking a moment, having a coffee with them and actually listening and speaking with them, or just creating a big stunt. There's tons of ways to get stuff done. What really makes it important is that you take time to make sure you know what you're trying to get across, and you do it in as clearly, simply, and relevantly as possible. We have a couple minutes now, I think, or at least maybe 2. So I want to open the floor up to your hands and questions. Big guy. Yeah.
So, 6th number you said when you really need to convince someone who doesn't trust you or anything, you should use this one.
Yeah.
Are there any other guidelines for example, like talk to the Dutch person, use this one?
Yes, yes. If you talk about the Dutch person, look up. No, I'm kidding. The best guideline is actually these are entirely useless, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I'm not saying they're useless to tell you just wasted 20 minutes of your time. What I mean is these are the foundations, and what you build on top of that is something that sets you apart. It's about understanding the placement of your information in a way that you can then naturally communicate that to people. So when you're in an elevator, you don't want to create the sense that you've rehearsed this huge, long sentence. So that you ask, okay, so what do you do for a living? It's like, well, I'm an X that does Y that leads to Z. That doesn't really help you. What you want to do is create it in such a way that's so natural. So how you do that is just by rehearsing it. So short answer is there's no right way to match one with what you do. The right way is really just adapting. Maybe even it's about blending a couple of them to fit with your own style, because it's you that's going to be selling it. So you have to add your own specific flavor to it. Make sense? We can have a chat later as well. Yeah.
So
When doing a web page, yes. Well, unfortunately, I am an advertising strategist, so my answer is, for these kind of questions, always, it depends. It is the best and worst answer I could give. Short answer is, think about what you want what do you want to accomplish by getting people on your site, and within the first 7 seconds, if you haven't really done that, you need to rejig things. What that means is, the first 7 seconds of you interacting with me, and if I want you to give me a call, I need to always emphasize, give me a call, give me a call, give me a call, kind of thing. So it's about driving your main point forward. I think we might have time for 2 more questions. How are we doing? 2 more questions. Yeah. Yes.
Time-related things. If you take the iPhone, when it was introduced, for many people it was not usable. And after years it's normally accepted. So if you try to give a pitch for an iPhone, if it doesn't exist, how do you convince somebody when it takes years to adopt the platform you're pitching?
So if I understand what you're saying, if it's something completely new that no one's ever seen before, how do you get people interested in it? Maybe it's about understanding their core behavior, thinking about the person itself, because at the same time it has to solve some sort of problem. So it's about taking the time to listen to your audience, understanding what their main problems are that you're trying to solve, and then saying, oh, by the way, I came up with something completely new that no one's ever seen before. Imagine what people would have said to Elon Musk when he came up with the supercharged electric car. They'd be like, well, that doesn't exist. It's not going to work, whatever. But he kept on pushing, kept on pushing, kept on replacing it within the context of what people already know, and then offering a new solution to it.
But even if the cars were on the market, Elon Musk, it took years for them to sell a lot of cars and to make some business. So how do you keep pitch when there's no car, nobody's interested?
It depends. No, it really does depend. I mean, short answer, I don't know offhand, and but I think this is actually something I would love to really maybe have a chat with you after the session, because it'll take a lot longer than an "it depends" kind of answer. Yeah, but it's a good one. I mean, it's about really understanding. Again, I think it's at the same time understanding your core needs and the core motivations of what people want to get out of a situation, and demonstrating how you solve that in as credible a way as possible. Even if it doesn't exist, you have to make people. I mean, you're not going to like suddenly introduce alien technology, well, unless you are. I don't know. That's totally cool. We should talk after, anyways. But any other questions? No. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening. And this is me. You can find me on the Twitter at MDK. Oh shit! No wait, never mind. MD Koenka, MDKOENKA is my Twitter handle. You can totally find me online as well, or I brought a whole pack of cards I just ordered, so I can totally give them out. Got crazy amounts of them, so I'm just gonna give out all these trees afterwards. Don't tell Canada I'm doing that; they will kill me, or love me for more tree work. But thank you very much for your attention and your time, and your questions and curiosity, and keep bitching.